Hey y'all, welcome to Musical Miles Podcast, where live music and great stories take center stage. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Teton Guitars. Whether you're picking tunes around a campfire or taking the stage at your favorite honky-tonk, Teton Guitars delivers rich, soulful sound built for the journey. Learn more at tetonguitars.com. Now let's dive into some music and memories. All right. Hey, music lovers. Welcome to Musical Miles Podcast. I'm your host, Byron Duff, and I am here with Rio Tripiano.
Hey.
Thanks for inviting us into your home, Rio. This is cool. It's got a really cool vibe, and we are here in New Braunfels, Texas, the heart of Texas music.
I like to think so. It's one of them.
One of this in Austin.
Might be the liver.
The liver.
You know.
Well, if it's the liver, it's in trouble.
Yeah.
Because we're Hey, so we're thankful that you gave us the opportunity to sit down with you. We met you officially in Round Top the other night at the Junk Gypsy Prom.
Junk Gypsy, Junkorama, Halloween hat prom.
Practical Magic Prom, yeah. What a cool event.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's cool. And so I was really tickled. We planned this trip to come down here and interview a bunch of artists and check out some cool venues. But we knew we were coming about this time, and I surprised my wife with the tickets to go to that. And it was even a bigger surprise when we found out you and Jade Marie were playing.
Oh yeah,
and
they take good care of us and have us out there pretty much every year at this point.
Yeah, so Jade Marie sent me. I sent her a message, told her we were going, and she goes, "Oh, I'm playing." Yeah. And so me and Rio were playing, and so I had hoped that I'd get a chance to meet you and invite you to be a guest on the podcast.
Yeah,
so
worked out
because this is what it's all about. It's all about the music, right? And so
and the miles.
and the miles, and you've done lots of them, and so have we. We have traveled a long ways. First time we actually saw you play, though, we saw you play with the Damn Quails in Denver, and it's been a couple years ago. And we decided it was at what was the venue?
So Many Roads.
So Many Roads. It's a pretty cool venue.
Yeah, great Grateful Dead bar. Down in Denver. Yeah,
so which was cool. But I gotta back up and tell you a quick Damn Quails story. So, our middle son introduced us to the Damn Quails music, and so his name is Breck, and we'd started listening to the music, and we were at Mile Zero, and Brian was playing with John Bauman, and they were at down at the end of the street there at this little beach bar, and just a 2-man acoustic set, and they kind of like a songwriter's round, they tell a little story and play a song, and so Brian starts playing California Open or Invitation or whatever I think is the title of that song. Anyway, and I looked at Shannon and I said, "That's a Damn Quail song," but I didn't know who Brian was.
Right.
I knew John was, but I didn't know who Brian was. But anyway, so after the show, I went up and introduced myself to him, and he said, "Well, where are you from, Byron?" And I said, "Oh, I'm from Idaho." And, "Oh man, we love Idaho." He says, "You need to hire me to come out there and do a house show." And I'm like, "I can't afford you." And he goes, "Sure you can." So he kind of throws some numbers at me, and I said, "Well, I'll follow you on social media." And he goes, "Oh no, I'll just give you my cell phone number." So he gives me his number, and I held on to it for 4 years. And then, of course, COVID happened, and we ended up, but it's just a convenience thing, but we hired Mickey and Gary Braun, and they came and did a private deal right there in our backyard, right? They were living up there because of COVID. They were stuck in Idaho. They couldn't come back to Texas. But anyway.
Convenience pity.
Yeah. Timing was everything, but which is cool. And it was a great experience. We had them come in and they played for our family and 60 of our friends, and it was just a blast. Anyway, but so fast forward here, about a month ago, was planning this trip, and I'm like, well, who am I going to try and interview? You know, because I know some of these guys, like I know the Brons, and I knew Jade Marie. I'd met her and Bree, and we'd interviewed Django up there in Idaho, and Cody Canada, and a bunch of different artists, and Jeff Crosby, and so we're just like, we'll just reach out. Darcy, Jeff's girlfriend, and she's like, "Oh, I'll help you get some people," and so I just started mapping it out. Well, I thought, I'd love to interview Brian White. So I had his number, and I dropped him a text. And I mean, in 2 minutes, he texted me back, "I'd love to be on your podcast."
He's good at them too.
But he's in Perry, Oklahoma. Yeah. So I'm looking at the schedule, trying to figure out if there's
that house. It's haunted, I'm pretty sure.
Is it haunted?
I think it is.
He invited us to stay there, so now maybe I might think twice about it. But anyway, he he was just really cool. And so we just started chatting back and forth. And so we're supposed to go up there the first of the week. So we're going to be here till Sunday and then head to Fort Worth and spend a night there. And they got a big thing going on at Billy Bob's. Man, there's a bunch of bands playing there on Sunday.
Oh, you're talking about this Sunday, right?
Yeah, this coming Sunday.
I'll be there.
Are you going to be there?
Well, I got a couple shows in Fort Worth this weekend, and that's Sunday. I'm doing the Cloud Covered Streets benefit down at Longhorn Saloon.
Okay.
And then after that, I'll probably hop over to Billy Bob's because it's a benefit for Tommy Alverson.
Yeah, I saw that, and there's a bunch of great bands.
See my
there.
name right there at the bottom where it says "and more."
That's you and more.
Yeah,
well, we love the and mores because let me tell you what, that's how we've become fans of a lot of music. Yeah. And you know, we've been live music lovers all our lives, and we've traveled a lot. Miss Shanda and I have been married 42 years, and we have gone to a lot of shows.
Congratulations.
But we started going to the BBR about 10 years ago, and we fell in love with American Aquarium and William Clark Green and guys that we'd never heard of and wouldn't have. And we found out about Jade Marie because of a mutual friend of ours, another music lover, right? And he told me about you and the band you played in the past. Mm-hmm. Is that off the subject today or no? So let's talk about you. We're here to talk about Rio.
Right.
So let's talk about your musical journey. I know you said you got this cool little baby grand piano here in your house. Is that what that's a baby?
That's a baby grand.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think it might have used to have been white. That might be nicotine yellow. I'm not sure.
Nicotine yellow could be smoked out. So tell us the story on that piano real quick.
I got that from a guy named Corey McDaniel who got it from, I guess Greg Henry gave it to him. These are all guys that have been involved in the scene for quite some time, but they that used to be the piano at Willie's Joint in Buda, where we've all spent many hours, many blurry hours of our lives. And actually,
Right.
Funny story. One time, back when Copper Chief was still a band, we were playing. We played there every Thursday, I believe. And one Thursday, it began to rain. We're outside on the outside stage, like we're used to, and it began to rain. So everyone's like, "Oh shit! Grab your stuff, put it in the van." But we still had maybe an hour and a half, to 2-ish hours left to play.
Right.
It's like, as a musician, like, you don't. It's not like it rains. Well, just give me my money and I'll go. It's like you still got to kind of do something,
Right.
So I think Mike might have gone and got his acoustic out, and I went and sat at this piano in that bar, and we played the whole. Everybody crowded around it in that small room, and I mean, we got down. We were doing, Superstition. We were doing Bob Seger. We were doing
cool.
some Marvin Gaye and stuff like that. And I remember at one point in time, everybody's kind of leaning on it, and one of those legs is wobbly, and that whole big thing kind of fell like on my right leg.
Oh no!
And luckily, it's got two other points of contact holding it up and everything. But I do remember very distinctly, just like, "Hey, get this piano off my leg." I kind of kept playing it. It worked out.
Oh man,
I got it all figured out. But no, it's a cool thing to have in my house.
Yeah.
When I've played piano longer than I played guitar. I played piano since I was 5. When there's another piano in the other room that came. It was here in the house already.
Oh wow!
And the sustain pedal is always down, and it's out of tune. So it, you can go in there and yell, and it'll go. It's like it's a natural reverb in that back room. So that was in here. Then there's a piano that I brought with me that me and Jeremy Plato actually went and picked up from we used to be neighbors at an old house I used to live in. He used to live right down the street. So me and Plato were together all the time. He had a truck. I didn't have a truck at the time. We went and picked up that piano from somebody's house in San Antonio. It used to be the piano in a kid's nursery room at a church, a Mexican church in San Antonio. And I got it for $75. And if you go look at it, it looks like John Lennon's Rolls Royce. It's all painted up, and there's it's crazy looking.
Oh wow!
Which is why I got it. It played good, and then I had it. But I realized as we were moving this last piano into the house that I became my Native American name. I became Rio 3 Pianos. Rio Tripiano, the 3 pianos.
Yeah, there you go, Tripiano.
Moved in, and all of a sudden I had 3 pianos. I was like, perfect. So
yes.
One of them doesn't work, but I do have 3 pianos.
Yeah, how serendipity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I didn't plan that, and it worked out just fine.
That's cool. And I got to use the word serendipity.
Yeah.
So
That's always good.
So, hey, so you started out playing the piano.
Mm-hmm.
Did your mom play? Your dad play? How did you get started?
I mean, Mom played a little, mostly. My mamaw, she passed away in March of this year. She was my favorite person on the planet. She was basically the real life equivalent of Miss Claus. She was just the sweetest old lady.
Cool.
But she got me the piano that I started playing on. We had the piano at the house. It was the piano that used to be in their living room when they lived in Houston back in the 70s and 80s. And I was just kind of plinking around on it, and I was 5 years old, and for my birthday, she got me piano lessons from one of her friends in the choir. Her name is Miss Wentz. And I started playing piano, and they were like, oh, he's good. Like, I mean, not to toot the horn, but like I picked it up real quick. I hardly remember any of this. Picked it up really quick. And I mean, by the time I was 10 years old, I had been writing songs, and I had.
Wow.
The first song I wrote was for my third grade teacher, and I wrote music, I wrote the lyrics, and I had the other kids that were in my class. We performed it at our fifth grade talent show. I called her up on stage and had everybody sing for her. And
oh wow!
I mean, I was like a little.
So your first job producing and everything was
I mean, I've been doing it since real young, and then played in the church for years, and then somewhere around 12 years, I guess it was 12 years old, I said, hormones are starting to kick in. I said, piano's cool, but chicks dig guitar.
Right.
I got to get a guitar, and then I got a guitar, and I was like, man, screw chicks. Guitar is tight. But also,
yeah. Oh, that's cool. So you started playing guitar. So when did you officially get your first band?
Like I said, there was a lot of playing in church. And so the first band I had was a band in church. We were called So Be It.
So Be It.
Yeah, I didn't name it, but it was called So Be It. And we played at our church. We played at other churches. We played at church camps and stuff. And I was always getting in trouble for being too loud and for playing a little more secular stuff. Like I'd go into AC/DC after we finished our songs, and Crazy Train, and stuff like that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great, and they were all. Not everybody was a fan. And then I got. After that, I had a band called The Washers, and that's where everything started. Really.
Okay.
We played Steamboat in 2013.
Okay.
And like we hot on the map and everything, and everyone, oh, who are these guys? And that week in Steamboat, that's where I met. I mean, 80 to 90% of the people that I hang out with now and know now, like my best friends, basically. Like I didn't really know who everybody was. I wasn't. There's a lot of people in the scene that have been, fully ingratiated into the whole Texas country or Americana thing, because at the time it was all called Texas country. No one was saying the word Americana. It was all Texas country. It didn't matter.
Who coined that phrase anyway?
Probably someone from Texas, because the majority of Texas country came from Stanley, Idaho, and Oklahoma, and nobody talked about it, but it's true. And then, so I didn't always. I was listening to Zeppelin and Hendrix and Floyd, but also George Strait, but also Michael Jackson, but also ABBA. Like just everything. And then that week I played, and I mean, I obviously knew who Cody Canada was. Because I loved Ragweed. I knew who the Reckless guys were, and a couple others. But for the majority of it, I was pretty ignorant as to who all the other bands were, which I think was, I guess, refreshing for a lot of the guys to not have somebody crawling up their ass trying to talk to them all the time.
Right.
I don't know who you are, but let's be friends. And then that's how we met everybody and became the whole thing. So the Washers was really the launch pad for for the whole Rio stuff.
Sure.
And then they kicked me out.
Oh, well, stuff happens, right? And that's just the way of the music world.
It is.
Not all of them. Well, even the legends Ragweed, right?
Yeah.
Only made it. I interviewed Cody, in Idaho, and we talked about that. And it was funny because this whole reunion thing was in the works, but he didn't say, couldn't say. But I brought it up. I said, so, I've been a fan since, back in the CCR days. And he goes, I said, I'm sure that's a sore subject. He goes, no, I'm over it. And he kind of peeled over it and talk, but he said, look, I was hurt, it just, and I'm sure that happens. When those bands break up, you feel like you have something and not everybody's on the same page. And so,
yeah, that's about it. Maybe everybody's not on the same page.
Yeah.
It's not gonna.
Well, and it's interesting. And look at this reunion deal with CCR or with Ragweed, whatever you want to call it. But they were going to do a one night show and ended up being 4. And they probably could do a Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Well, they could do a residency there.
They could do a residency. They could tour. They can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. And what's crazy to me is that half of the band's been together the whole time, right?
The Departed is killer. They're
amazing. An amazing band.
If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, go listen to The Departed. They're great.
They're fantastic. I'm a huge Departed fan. Yeah. But I love the Ragweed days too. And a
lot of us wouldn't be here if it weren't for the Ragweed days. And,
sure.
That's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
But also, The Departed is great and plays a lot of that Ragweed stuff.
Yeah, they do. That's the
if you didn't get a ticket to Stillwater, go see The Departed.
Right. I'm with you. And I've seen The Departed, and I've had a lot of people ask me, well, you're doing the podcast, you're going to go do out there. And I'm like, man, you can't even get anywhere near that place.
No.
You can't get a hotel room. You can't get a ticket.
I'll go if somebody has a ticket for me and has a spot within 10 miles of the stadium.
Right.
I'm not
beyond that. It's not worth it.
I have a hard time peopling as it is.
I think you do pretty good. You're listen, but that's part of being a musician. I think part of it is dealing with the
introverted extroverted introvert.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I'm very much extroverted. Miss Shanda's behind the camera because she's a little introverted and she doesn't like the attention. But nonetheless, we all serve a role in life, right? But you can damn sure stand up there on that stage and play anything. Your guitar skills are just beyond.
That's when I'm my most me, I guess.
Is with that guitar in your hand.
Well, up on stage in front of people with the guitar doing the whole thing. It's a peek, and like I said, it's kind of like I was telling you about the house. It's like a peek inside my brain, peek inside my heart and soul, if you want to get deep about it. But it's which is a very it's a personal thing, it's hard sometimes. Like we used to play on 6th Street all the time. We cut our teeth down there, and I was playing just as good then as I am now, and except the room is smaller, and you get done and people are right there, like ready to talk to you. It's like, hey man, I just kind of I imagine I was just naked on stage, giving you my all. Like, give me just a minute. I got
to put some clothes on.
Put my metaphorical clothes back on real quick before I can talk to you.
Yeah,
eye contact up here.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I'm sure it's a very unique situation to be put in. What I love about a lot of these artists here in Texas, to me, it's just more. They're more personable. They're more open. They're more human, right? Gary Braun said yesterday in an interview. He said, "Look, it's just our job. Everybody thinks it's music is just everything, and it is everything in some regard. But yet, we're just people, right? That play music."
Yeah, of course, Gary's job. He's been doing it since he was 4.
Well, exactly. And and we saw them when they were little. Yeah. Maybe not quite that little.
Baby Braun.
But they were the baby Brauns. We got to see him, and of course, we got to interview Muzzy and kind of pick his brain a little bit about.
Those guys are great. I've been lucky enough to become friends with all of them through the years, and you want to talk about some reliable shithead big brothers to have.
Sure.
Like they'll give you love and they'll give you peace, love, and understanding.
Yeah.
They'll also pick on you in just the best way.
Well, and by the way, we told Gary we were interviewing you today, and he said, make sure you tell Rio I said hello. So,
hello, Gary, baby.
Yeah, great guys. We just enjoyed following those guys, but and love the music. But there's so much music. My gosh, how people ask me, and I ask people all the time. I say, "Well, this artist and this artist." No, we don't know those guys.
Yeah,
and people tell us about it. Well, they tell us about the podcast. They go, "Well, you're interviewing people we never heard of them." I said, "Then give them a chance.
Yeah,
listen to their music because they're all extremely talented." Right?
It's crazy. It's like I think a lot about because I write these songs, I do these things, and you're trying to you're trying to get new new people in the audience everywhere you go, new fans, new this, new that.
Right.
And I think often about the what you can retain in your brain, or what you're willing to retain in your brain at what age. Because like you think about it, growing up, you soak in so much information as a child, up to your teens and everything. And it's like after about 20 something, it seems like this is the music I like. We're good. And like you've just soaked in so much, and it's like you got to do something that just pops out to try and get people to latch onto it, as time goes on.
Sure.
And I'm guilty of it too. Like that, I get caught up in, I listen to, everything by the Beatles, everything by Zeppelin, everything by Floyd, Hendrix, like once a year. And I also watch Lord of the Rings about twice a year, like it's just one of those things, like I get caught in your habits of listening to the same thing. So every once in a while you have to kind of shove something new in there, and sometimes it's the best thing you've ever heard.
Yeah, well, I would agree with you. We have a very eclectic taste in music. We've seen everybody from Cher to and nice. You mentioned ABBA. Shanda loves the ABBA and big disco
ABBA,
age.
Yeah.
I grew up in the 70s, and so I'm not a big disco guy. That kind of ruined it for me.
You're the disco sucks guy?
Yeah, but there's some of those, like I love the Bee Gees before the Bee Gees turned into the Saturday Night Fever Bee Gees.
I love those Bee Gees.
And some of that stuff's okay, don't get me wrong. But I listened to your new album.
Thank you.
And I love that. But you mentioned a lot of bands, a lot of names there, and I hear that in your music. I hear Pink Floyd in there, and I hear a little of that ABBA, a little of that disco feel to it. It's got a different vibe to it. It's a little cosmic.
I know the exact. I can tell you which track you're talking about when you talk about it.
Yeah.
Number 2 is definitely the Pink Floyd one. Number 3, the one with Jade on it. That's definitely the disco one.
Yeah. So you have a unique feel, but I watched you and Jade play the other night, and of course you play a lot of Jade's music, and we love Jade stuff, Damn the Rain and some of those, and actually her version of Bobby McGee, Shanda just absolutely loves that version. She does a phenomenal job.
She can sing her ass off.
Oh man. So, but no, it's cool to just experience all these different artists and their music, because everybody can. You can. Well, we talked about your version of Jolene. You said you started singing that at 19 years old.
Yeah.
And you sang it when you were with
Copper Chief on
and
TV.
And my good friend Wes Paul is the one who brought that to my attention, and so Wes, you're getting another shout out. But Wes is the one who introduced me to Jade Marie. We're talking one day, and he goes, "Man, have you ever heard of Jade Marie?" And I screw her last name up too. Patek. Yeah. Okay. I want to call her Patek, but anyway, Patek. And he says, you got to listen. And so we started listening to her music, and then she came to Idaho, and we got a chance to meet her, and she's just such a talent. So
she's a sweetheart.
But so when you just released this new album, tell me the title of the album.
Just Rio Tripiano.
Yeah. And you released it in 23, right?
Yeah, it was September 15th, 23. So it just hit a year old.
Just hit a year. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Landed with a thud, because I don't know if y'all know this, but Spotify is kind of the devil. And
well, Gary brought that up yesterday. We don't really know. Share that with us.
So let's see, because I don't want to go on a giant platform and tell everybody, because it sounds like I'm just complaining. But here are the facts. Every spin, every time your song spins, one song, if it spins one time, Spotify gives you 0.00039 cents per spin, of which they keep 30%. Now, it used to be that if you put out new music, it automatically got added to new music playlist, discovery playlist, and just got sent out, to these, so people could find you.
Right.
Because there are people like y'all that like to go on there. Let's hear some new shit. Let's hear some,
well, it recommends stuff to you. It
recommends stuff to you. Now, okay, so as I say now, whenever I put out Midnight Marionette, the first single on my album, it was doing well. It got added to playlist, and it was, going up and up, and keep in mind, I've been around for a while, playing with the Washers, playing with Copper Chief, playing with all sorts of people.
Right.
Paul Cawthon, Midnight River Choir, the Damn Quails, everybody. I've been on a bunch of tracks, and so I'm not new, but technically I'm starting as a new artist, being Rio Tripiano on there.
Yeah.
So put out Midnight Marionette. It was doing great. Put out the second single, which is Show Me How to Love, the one that has Jade on it. And it just kind of simmered there. I was like, oh, did I do something wrong? Is it because, I'm telling my mom to listen to it? Telling these people, hey, listen to it, hoping they would do something.
Right.
And it just kind of simmered there. And I did the same thing with the third single, Come Down Complete. And it just kind of hung out. I was like, do people just not, like, this is not going how I thought it was going to go. Right. What's happening? In that time between when I released the first single and the second single, Spotify, without telling anyone, changed it to where if you put out any new music at all, it doesn't get added to anything at all, unless you want to give them another 30% of the 0.00039 cents per spin. So at that point in time, they have 60% of your nothing, and that's how you. It's unless you have 25,000 monthly listeners. How does a new artist have 25,000 monthly listeners? You don't.
Well,
because no one knows who you are yet.
It's such a quandary because they put all these qualifications, and it's no different than YouTube or Spotify or even Facebook. Mm-hmm. If you want to monetize something, even like us with the podcast, you have to have, like YouTube, you have to have 1,000 followers and 4,000 hours of watch time. Yeah, it takes a long time to build that, right? It doesn't happen overnight.
And the head honcho of Spotify is a billionaire,
right? Who's
getting. We're putting food on his table and he has no idea who we are.
No.
I say we, I mean, everybody.
Well, and this is what I try to explain to people, and we talk about it in almost every interview, how people don't understand, even myself, I pay a monthly subscription to Spotify.
Mm-hmm. And same, that's the worst part. I use these guys.
Yeah, but people don't realize, they think I always same deal. I thought, well, if I'm listening to your music and spinning that music, you're getting paid. Well, it takes, and I'm probably wrong now that you've given me those numbers, but someone told me it took 6,500 plays to make the same money you make selling off a T-shirt, and that's maybe too low.
It's not even close. Yeah. It would take 65. I mean,
maybe it's 65,000. It's stupid, whatever it is.
Let's see. Well, 0.00039 times 6,500. You would make $2.53.
Oh, you're kidding me. Well, so do you know the Hughes brothers from down in Waco? We interviewed them the other night in Lubbock, and they were telling us they stood on stage and they talked about they got a song that they got 1 million plays. Mm-hmm. And we were so excited. He said, we took that money and went and bought us a couple of chicken mix sandwiches.
There's a video of the man Snoop Dogg talking about this exact same thing. He says, if you look on there in my song, whatever it was, as a 1 billion blah 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 streams, and I ain't made $1 million off that one. Like, it's him talking about it.
Oh yeah.
And if Snoop's talking about it, something's got to change.
Yeah, something's definitely got to change. Well, so is Apple better? iTunes better?
I've been told Apple's better, but I mean, when I say better, it's not like a giant leap, I don't think, but I know Spotify is like the worst at it.
Yeah.
So,
well, we tell everybody, look, one, go to the concerts, go to live, support live music,
buy the shirts,
buy the T-shirts, throw $20 in the tip jar.
We hardly make CDs anymore because people don't really listen to CDs anymore because it's not every, like, vehicles don't all have.
Yeah, they don't have CD player.
If somebody has a Patreon, go to their Patreon. It's imagine it's you giving them, $5 in the tip jar 5 times a month. That's $25.
Sure. Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, nobody, it's not killing anybody to do that. And that's what I tell people.
You spend it at McDonald's in one trip and you need to do it anyway.
Well, right. Well, we just had lunch over here at Black's.
Which is delicious, though.
Fantastic, but it was $50.
Nothing costs what it's supposed to anymore.
No, it's nuts. But
well, so it's situations like this, talking about the money of everything. You have to be, if you're gonna do this, you have to do it, and you have to be like a lifer, and you have to hurt. It's gonna suck,
and you have to love it.
You have to love it more than anything. I love it more than anything.
Yeah.
I know. Earlier, when I'm on stage doing it, like, that's when I'm my most me. And that's all anybody in the world wants to be, is the most version of themselves.
Yeah.
And so for me to do it, I have a hard time with the online thing too. I mean, I can do I'll do it in like burst and have a little bit of fun doing it, and then it wears me out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not my most me with my phone in front of me going, okay, hey guys, no, and like performing for that.
I think you need a live person to interact
be in front
with
of people. Yeah, and I gotta, it's got to be hot in the room. I got to be sweating. I got to, see some drunk people over here, and
Right.
and somebody arguing. I got to stop and turn the attention this way, and then turn it on, and stage lights and heat and smoke, and
Yeah. Well, listen, this has been fun. We don't want to take up a bunch of your time. We really appreciate you taking the time to allow us to come into your home.
Not a problem.
Do me a favor. We got this Teton guitar. This is an Idaho company. I don't know if you've ever even heard of this guitar.
What's it called?
Teton.
Teton.
Yeah. So, good little company. And this is the second guitar they've given us. So, we have everybody play us a song, sing us a song, whatever you want to play and sing, and then autograph it for us.
Cool. Yeah,
you do that?
No problem. Not a problem. Let's see. Where are all these?
So we got this one. So we've already covered one up with autograph. So this is the second one they gave me. It didn't have a single autograph on it till we hit Texas. So.
All right. Let's play. Here's a good one. I've been ending my shows with this song because it's my way of saying thank you to everybody, basically, and. You've heard my album. This sounds nothing like the rest of that. This sounds more country than
That's
anything.
okay.
It's called Life Will. I'm in between believing in love or believing in myself. I'm in between watching the film or pulling the book off of my shelf. I'm in between wearing the crown or leaving free the throne. I'm in between what I've been told and what I have been shown. Oh, but you gotta make a decision. You can't keep standing still. 'Cause if you just let life pass you by, believe me, life will. I'm in between west of Austin and east of San Antonio. I'm in between my living here and leaving what was home. I'm in between saying yes to things, knowing well I should say no. I'm in between fighting the good fight or going with the flow. Oh, but you gotta make a decision. You can't keep standing still. 'Cause if you just let life pass you by, believe me, life will. If she's pretty. If she's not. I'm in between setting it all on fire and just hating being cold. I'm in between thinking that the best is coming or thinking that my ship has flown. I'm in between wanting all brand new stuff or wanting stuff that's old. But I'd like to thank y'all for all of the kindness that I have been shown. Oh, but you gotta make a decision. You can't keep standing still. 'Cause if you just let life pass you by, believe me, life will. Yeah, you gotta make a decision. You can't keep standing still. 'Cause if you just let life pass you by, believe me, it will. There you go.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Here, throw your John Henry on it. Sign it on this side.
Sure.
Everybody's wanting to sign it in one spot. We're going to have to call this the Texas guitar.
When I get to festivals and stuff, they'll have guitars laid out for us to sign.
Right.
If I'm feeling ornery, or I'm usually feeling ornery, if I'm feeling particularly ornery, I'll write RIO and then TRI, like P all the way across, just to be an asshole right in between the strings. Not everybody likes that.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, listen, we really, really, really appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
It's been so cool to get to meet you and get to hang out, and we appreciate you opening your home up to us.
Yes, sir.
So thanks again. We hope to see you again soon somewhere. So don't forget, where are we going to find your music? On
Spotify. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Tidal, just wherever I'm at. If you go to riotripiano.com, RIOTRIPIANO.com. I'm the only Rio Tripiano on the planet, luckily. So all the domains, I've got them.
You got them.
Instagram, Facebook.
Perfect.
I might still have a MySpace. I'm not sure. I think I have Twitter or X, whatever they call it.
Cool.
Just type in that name.
Awesome.
You'll find me.
Well, don't forget to follow us on YouTube as well. Click the subscribe button right here. Make sure you follow us on YouTube so you see this and all our other interviews here in Texas. From Musical Miles Podcast, I'm your host, Byron, with Rio Tripiano. We'll see you somewhere down the road. Adios for now.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So much.
We did it.